One very important project that you may experience if you own land is being able to get there, making a way to get there. And I've always had problems with that. And what I need to do is actually work on access from both sides. And then that also means roads within the land, because ultimately you should be able to drive from one side to the other better. Currently a normal car would not be able to do that. In fact, a normal car would not actually be able to get to the place necessarily. Depends on whether there's rain or not. But what I want to do is buy other properties as well. Like this road right here, I'm not the only user of it. It's not my road, and I'm allowed to use it, but I can't invite a bunch of other people to. So I need to buy at least 2 to 3 properties between here and the road that then if I owned them, I could pave the roads. And I would have better access, and I would have rights to have access. That's going to be difficult to do. They're pretty big pieces of property, and they're valuable to the owners. So we're talking about, $500,000 probably. That would probably do it, which is not that much in a big picture. Especially since then I could expand plans onto those properties. Now they're pretty slopey. They're not perfect, but they're actually really nice pieces of land. Not as nice as mine, of course, but no, they're fine. And then I could dig in another road here to enter my property, and then improve access within it. This one really, all I need really is rights to use this part, and that would work if I owned the other part. I don't have to have this fixed up that much. It's not that bad right in here, and that would work. And there's another property I want to buy on the other side of a ravine, which would just extend one of my best areas and allow me to make some building sites that would be perfect for solar. They'd be perfect for passive solar, and they don't have view or anything. Really, I have to make a calculation of what the value of a piece of land is by my standards, which is very different than most people's. Almost everyone wants to get land that has water and power. I specifically don't want those things because the price of the land will go way up. Makes sense, right? So I prefer to have land nobody else wants. Buy land that nobody else wants. Makes perfect sense. And now with Starlink and perhaps other services, but Starlink is the market leader right now, you can be online. At least until there's a solar flare and it knocks down all the satellites. But it's very likely nobody will be online for quite a while then. And we should plan for that. That's why we should plan to gather survival materials and print them out and have a root cellar Faraday cage with data in it so that we can bounce back into functionality faster. We also need a ham radio set up. That would be great. Now there are other properties I want to get. There's one just downhill from me, and I'd like to buy that whole thing, and that would be a cost, but that would also allow for the development of a different road that bypasses my land, and perhaps one that I'm not as emotionally connected to, and would allow me to divide it up and sell those pieces to individuals who I particularly think are great and I want near me. But then again, if they own the deed, what's to keep them from selling it to somebody else? And despite any promises of only sell it to friends and stuff like that, no promises are legally binding. So, I don't know if I can put riders on a deed, but I don't think it's going to work. So in that case, you would want a nonprofit owning it, or a land trust of some kind, and the person would lease it for a long lease, so that they would know that they have a place for the rest of their life. Although tying something to somebody's lifetime might not be the brightest, because that might give you a motivation to kill you. Hopefully those kind of conflicts never occur, but you have to assume that they will. You have to plan for that. You just must, because conflicts will occur. It's the nature of the world. So, other land I'd like to buy, I'd like to lease some land from my neighbors, and that would be actually if I started really having events again, larger events, or if I really wanted to have the public here in some way, I could actually start a van life or campground there. That would work, and then try and only invite good people to that, so don't have a public face on it, but be very careful. And fuck, somebody cut down a tree here, so it's hard to walk, and I gotta go that way. It's all right, I can just walk around it. So that would be cool. And then it would be nice to have a spot in town that had storage, so that if we bought stuff, we could have it there, and perhaps retail space. In fact, there is a really cool retail space near the police station that there was plans for it, and it never worked out. And I wonder how much those spots cost, and if it would reopen because of that. Like if I bought all the stalls, and I don't know, that's tricky though, because that's still publicly owned ultimately, and you're really renting it from the government, and so I don't like that very much. Now it'd be better just to get my own space, build new, do full rain capture, all that. Perhaps locating properties that are currently abandoned, of which there are quite a few. You know, they're not utilized right now, and find the owner and buy up a bunch of properties in town. That's not my core thing, so I don't know about that. Yeah, somebody's been cutting trees in here. But this is one of the pieces of property I'd want to buy. And I know who owns it, which is good, because sometimes it's hard to figure out. And maybe if I just bought this one, I could actually cut a road across the upper part and connect to my land without having to buy the other one. And that is a case where I have to GPS the corner of my property, figure out the altitude, go along this road and figure out the altitude, and then I can calculate easily that there must be a way across that's level. That would be amazing. And that would actually increase the value of my property if I made that into a private road to get to my property. This would become also then part of the property, and it is also buildable, useful, and good. There's actually somebody down here owns a house. They're a really nice person. Has very similar values, and like me, they don't have any heirs, so it might be possible to buy their property, perhaps waiting upon their death, and not killing them, of course, so that they knew it was going into a bigger system. Now that's only if I can create a bigger system that's functioning well, that they have faith in. Because like a lot of people, I mean, I have to have a will. I got to get a will really fast because I could die at any time. And I almost did. And who's going to get the land? Well, it's going to go to a nonprofit. I have to form that nonprofit. I have one now that I don't like because of how it exists. But I need to set up a different one, perhaps two. And one could own the land and one could own the functions of the land, like the businessy part of hosting people and having workshops and stuff like that. That could work out really well. I like that. And I keep this existing road because right now there's some farmers that use it, and it's very hard to change agreements. It's very hard to take a right away from someone. But I do have over there, there's that ravine there, and I'd probably fill that in right there to raise up the road and have it not go down as much, because right now it turns into a lake when the rains are coming, and then it becomes muddy and stuff. So make it like a real good road and have the other road as well. One could be going in, one could be going out. That would work well, except if I connect to my land, then we're not doing both. But this one could go through, and it's not used that much, so it's possible. Well, there's options, you know. Ultimately, I suppose, with such an important access road, I could make the upper one be 2-lane and the lower one be 1 lane, and just have it work out, and then connect those two. There's a spot that those could connect. So a lot of planning involved, and I don't have the resources to do that right now. I mean, this is a big ticket item, especially buying this piece of land would be a lot. But it's very slopey, so it's not super useful for every goddamn thing. Yeah, I'm liking the idea a lot. And then I have a list of other properties that would be cool to acquire. Some are in town. I could even get a base in the city. If people are arriving late at night, you know, have like a hostel. I mean, if I have enough people coming and going, then it would be really cool to own a hostel and have it actually be divided into people coming and going from here and public. Or say it's booked when I have people coming through. Something to keep disease vectors from not being as much. So it'd be like 2 hostels really. And I would locate it probably actually up near the airport, no, up near the bus station. Because that takes care of people coming in on bus and airport. And it's a rough part of town, but if you had a secured location, I don't think that'd be a big problem. And really, you're just using it for people to get in and out, because it's been hard to travel to here. That airport is about 2 hours away, maybe an hour and a half, but you know, shit happens and things take time. So it's a very long taxi drive for people to pay for. And I'd rather have people on their own transport, because a lot of people, if they don't know the area, it's just, I don't want them wandering around. I want them to get here and get out, maybe tack on some more touristic stuff. But I'd even rather have that stuff be based here, you know? Well, we'll see. A lot of things to think about.